Welcome back to the Pillowfort podcast, guys. This week we're going to go over the Goldy Pond arc. After taking a 1 week break, we are back. We should be doing these every week. Hopefully that works out. But so Goldy Pond arc, for those of you who read along with us, is chapter 75 to 95 in the manga. And there are not episodes up to this point, so that ship has sailed. So I'm here once again with both Kate and Shania, talking about The Promised Neverland. And for those of you who don't know, maybe this is your first podcast, Kate has never read The Promised Neverland, and both me and Shania have read it. Shania once before. I think I've done it twice, but so we're both, have read it, and so we're excited to get back into it. But so, Kate, as the newbie, we'll start with you once again. What did you think about the Goldy Pond arc? What are your initial thoughts and anything like that?
Yeah, but I really, really liked this arc. We found out a ton more about, kind of the 4 demons that, or I guess not the 4 technically, the 5, I guess, demons that are, major players and everything, and we found a lot more about, the background of, every single one of the kids, basically, that is involved with this plan, at least from the beginning, or the ones that Lucas kind of banded together and everything. But yeah, I think it's super interesting so far, and I'm really excited to see kind of where it goes. But
so what I didn't call this out beforehand, but so of the kids, right? You mentioned we got to know these kids a little more. What are the ones that stood out? You don't have to name them. We don't have to do names, but if you have any descriptors of them, what are kids you stood out to you?
I think one of the first ones that comes to mind is probably, I think his name's Pepe. One, I just really like his name, so that's a name that just is gonna stick in my head. But also, he's really cool, making the moves there. I like seeing, I think Violet, the one Emma first meets, coming out and being brave, because before, I think you see in some flashbacks, she seemed to be more of a cowardly character that didn't get involved. But then they all really come out. None of these kids came to play, so it was really cool to see the different evolution of all these kids bravely banding together to get this done.
yeah, probably 2 of the most interesting ones to me were Violet as well, like you said, Shania, and also Gillian. I don't know exactly how I should say her name. Probably Gillian is right, but yeah, I really liked her just sacrificing herself kind of for Nigel. I mean, obviously it's not she fully sacrificed herself, but putting herself out on the line for Nigel like she did was super crazy to watch. And Zach too, I thought was super interesting, his backstory and everything, and his through Nigel's eyes. I think he's a very interesting character, because you can tell that Nigel looks up to him so much. But yeah,
they're super interesting. I really like. So Zach was one of the ones that I really like. I love the thought of he got good at medicine because he kept getting hurt. I'm that's kind of funny. I like that, and you're totally right. It's through Nigel. It's Nigel looks at, he could be a moron if we were coming at this from a different point of view, but Nigel is so into wow, he's so cool, that it makes a difference. I definitely liked Zach a lot. And Jillian was super dope. Oh my word, Jillian was super dope. All the kids were really cool. So one of the things that I thought was cool, so we meet all these kids and we're kind of told that they are from this different farm, and I forget if it's Glory Bell or the other one, but it's a different farm, not Gracefield, right? And so and they're not quite as intelligent. We're told that vocally, but we've only really seen them interact with Emma and Lucas, are the only other 2. But I love when Ray shows up. And is it Olivia? Is that Oliver? The girl that Emma first meets.
that's Violet.
Violet. Oh my word. Oh, Oliver's like the main guy.
Yeah, kind of Lucas is like second.
My bad. Oliver's like super important. Never mind. But like, so Violet, right? Like when Ray and the man show up, and like she's like so impressed with how like quickly Ray understands the situation and just goes with it. I thought that was like a cool way to demonstrate how much like the next level that Ray is on compared to the kids that we've dealt with here.
Also, since we brought him up, and I can't believe we missed him in the first one, let's shout out to Oliver, because he's such like a main player, but then also I guess spoiler head jumping towards like the end of this arc, he's just so willing to be left behind as they're sitting there trying to figure out what to do with these injured kids, and he's just like, leave us behind. And you see his devotion to Lucas, which I found to be really cool, because he doesn't even care. He's like, if I die here, like it's still worth it, like we still, you know, we owe Lucas everything, like we did the thing. And that was cool too, just seeing all the kids in general, their sort of like bond and commitment to Lucas too, as this like father figure, big brother guy, like this little like community of I don't know what you want to call them. I almost said refugees, but that's not quite right. But they're holding up, trying to make it work there. And I thought that was like a cool family thing, especially like considering like knowing from the man Lucas's background of having lost his family and seeing this new family he's constructed out of all these kids.
Yeah, I thought Oliver was really cool too, actually. Definitely feel the same way about him saying that everybody can just like leave him behind, because I just think like, first of all, like that's just like on a whole nother level, like just as a person in general, but like as like a kid, usually you're not thinking very much about that stuff. Obviously we have insinuating circumstances here with like the demons and everything, but yeah, but even like one of the demons, I think it might have been Lewis, I can't remember who exactly, but like comments on like how amazing it is that like these kids were organized in this way, even though they're not exactly at the same level as like Emma and Ray are, and like how like through Lucas's and kind of like Oliver's too, his organization, like the team really got together, like the family, like you were saying, Shania, really got built, and I just think that that's super awesome.
It is really cool. I really like his devotion to Lucas there. I like that their little aspect. I couldn't help, so him specific, Oliver specifically, in relation to Lucas, almost made me like, when I read it this time, like gave me a little like worry, because like Lucas could very easily be super manipulative of these kids, like, because he is clearly the smartest member. Lucas is, obviously he's older, but like I get this kind of devotion was almost scary. You're like, and it's fine because Lucas is a good guy, right? It's fine because he really wants to help them, he really wants to save them, but it did like make me almost like, this is like this is a right position for him to like set up his own little kingdom down here if he wanted to, because again, he's hidden from the demons, he's effectively safe, but again, Lucas is a good guy, so he doesn't do that. But I don't know, it was just interesting for me to think about in that way that I hadn't thought about the first time.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and what I think about when you say that is the moment where Oliver is talking about almost how Lucas is like almost a father to them, because he's like this older guy, he's older than all of the rest of them, right? He's taking care of them and showing them how to survive. So it's like, it's definitely treads into that area of like, this could be very bad if like Lucas was a bad guy or like working with the demons at all, because they would probably just go like right into whatever trap he could like place them in. So definitely get that same vibe. But
yeah, so like hard abrupt turn from that, because I want to talk about the demons. This is the first time, other than Songjun Musica, because obviously we've spend some time with them. But these are the first like villain demons that we've like gotten to know almost on a personal level. Because we can see like the different personalities of these. I'm super interested. So, Kate, we'll start because you're new, but we'll start with you. Out of the 4 groups, and I say that because Noose and Numa are like, I'm counting them as one thing. Halfway through this arc, Noose eats Numa, and they become one monster. So like they are one. But out of these 4, which one was the most interesting to you, and like why? And obviously Shania, get ready for that. So
yeah, I think out of the 4 groups, probably the most interesting to me is definitely Lewis. Just because of like his tactical like planning and stuff, and his ability to kind of foresee what the kids might be planning and everything. And even like his ability to figure out like almost immediately that Emma is there trying to distract him for a while. Like he's like so fast, like immediately almost. He's like, so after the 10 minutes is up, you're gonna be the only one here, so we're gonna have to fight it out. Which I thought was also such an interesting move, like him just being like, okay, yeah, I'll wait here for 10 minutes. Like, it's like super like cocky, but I'm like, I love it a little bit, because I'm like, that is like really baller to do that, to just be like, I'm just gonna wait here, and if they show up, they show up. But yeah, I thought like Bayon was pretty interesting too. I definitely didn't expect as much from Bayon as we got. Like I kind of expected him to be like this aristocrat, like not as like involved with the hunt as he very much so is. And I thought that he was just super interesting too. So definitely a shout out to him as well.
So I'd agree probably the most interesting demon we see is Lewis, but before getting into that, I guess highlighting the other demons, I like that they sort of created that the kids created a tier of how to handle each demon, and I like how they disperse the supplies and everything like that, because you've got Luce that like they didn't even bother to waste any of the special like helmet or mask piercing guns on. They're like, we don't need him, he's literally nothing. And you find out he is, like, so he's, like, the most cowardly demon who's definitely, riding a superiority complex. But then you see Noose and Numa, which was really interesting, because I like how the kids, as soon as they kill one, they end up freezing. And so, who is it that's alive? It's Numa is? No, Noose is the one still alive. And, the kids have a moment where they're like, how dare he grieve? Like, he's been killing us for sport this whole time. And so, like, they're having this moment, like, this shows, like, still, I think, like, the compassion of the kids, because they're like, no, like, we can't be distracted by his grief. We can't. And then he eats her. And then they have, like, another moment where they're like, wait, what did you just, I thought you were sad, but now you're eating. What? Which was, like, I don't know, it was kind of funny to watch, but also like interesting for what it shows about the kids, because that brief moment of seeing the demon's grief like gave them pause, which I thought was like a cool dynamic in the battle. And then I feel a little slighted that we didn't really see like what went down with Lord Bayon. Like we see him roll up and we see that the guys fighting him are not there, but we know the subordinates are dead, and so we miss like a lot of that fight. And then it's who is it that does come in though? It's Pepe or no?
Yeah, Pepe comes back.
Yeah.
Jack was with him.
Yeah, so like Pepe comes in, and then it's so clever, I think, because Lord Bayon like thinks he's got it, and he's like, oh, I knew he was coming up behind me, I'ma follow them back. And then he's like, oh dang, I've been lured back. So I don't know, all of it was like really cool, but definitely, and we get this from the kids, that Lewis is like a cut above the rest in how he does everything, but like and I like the way he goes about it too. Like he's really about the sport, even to the point of being like, yeah, I'll sit here and wait, I'll do it this way. But like his skill, how he quickly accommodates for what the kids are doing, but how quickly the kids accommodate to him, even Emma and like Ray piecing together like how he knew where to attack, because when like the bomb blew up, it hit the one boy who yelled. So it's just painted Lewis as like a cut above the rest entirely, which made him like a super cool fight. And I like that everyone was involved, including Adam, who just threw him across the square. That was so cool. I like how Lewis quickly pieces together, like, okay, Adam's a simpleton. He just threw a big building where his friends are. But dang, he also broke my arm. Which is cool, because we've never seen a human, like, on physical level with a demon. We've seen, like, the man and Lucas be able to, like, outmaneuver them in some ways. But we've never seen, like, a physical rival. And then there's Adam, who's just perpetually bulking up as he fights. So, yeah, so that was really cool.
This is one of the things that like I really like about this art style. So Demizu, the artist for this manga, doesn't like there's like a rough like character model, but for most of the drawings there's not like a standard size model. And so what it feels like Demizu is doing is like every once in a while they'll make like Adam will just like look bigger. And it's because they want you to like see Adam as like more intimidating in that moment. And I think that's like a really cool way to use like the medium of manga to like convey like feelings like that. Obviously, I mean there's like better, more obvious examples of like when Nos is eating Numa and the way that looks being like conveying to you this like how scared the kids are. I think it really like did well. Quick question before I get into my demon thoughts for Kate and only Kate, because I don't think you can answer this, Shania. So Nos eats Numa, right? And then it seems like Numa is talking out of Nos's body. Does this mean anything about demons? What do you think?
I don't know. Like, I think it could mean something like when a demon eats another demon's brain, that something very different happens from when they eat like human brains or like human flesh or whatever. Like it seems like they can almost like for a little while take on at least part of the consciousness of another demon that they did that with, which is really insane to me. Like I didn't really expect at all to see anything like that. Like I didn't expect a demon to be eating another demon in the first place. But then like again, I didn't expect at all like Noma's voice to still be able to like come out, you know? Like I have no idea what that is, but like it's definitely super interesting.
I know for sure that I thought the first time, I won't like reveal if this is it or not, but I know the first time I thought it was like almost psychosis on Nos's part. Like he was making that voice too. He's just like so like distraught, he's going crazy. But we shall see if we've learned something about demon physiology in this arc or not. Either way, we've definitely learned something about demon physiology with these masks and how important they are to blow off. But so I like Luce a lot, and what I like about Luce is that it shows that if a demon is going to be a glutton, they're not that scary. So like Luce by himself, you get him off of his little pedestal, you get him away from his goonies. He's not like I'm sure that like the man, or like Lucas without being crippled, I'm sure like an adult would be able to physically fight Luce and be on at least equal terms, if not physically come out on top, right? So I like that. I think that's like an interesting dimension to like what the demons are, that Luce is just like kind of the worst. Like he's just, and the kids know it, and the kids absolutely know, like, yeah, we can pick him off without even using one of the bullets. I like Nosunuma's design, and I like the psychosis thing, but like not nearly as much as Bayon and Lewis. Because Bayon and Lewis both have this like, I like that they're like centuries old friends. Like they've like, because we see them like, I don't know if it said like 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago. I think the promise was made 1,000 years ago, so I'm not sure. Yeah, so like almost like when the promise was made, like, well, I guess 200 years away, but you get it. Like way long, like they've been friends for hundreds of years, and like they both have this desire. And it almost feels like Bayon has like more of a desire to hunt, like to hunt than even Lewis does. I think Lewis is like after like the game of it, whereas Bayon is like, I love the Bayon thing where he's like, I can't taste food anymore. Like, that was so cool where you see him like eating and he's like, there's no taste to it because there's no like game in it. And I'm like, that's one creepy because we're talking about humans. But at the same time, like, it's just such an interesting way to look at this. And like, you see that in the way that like Nos flips out, because again, this was a game to them, and now Noma's dead. Like that would not have, like, Nos clearly did not think about that possibility. Lewis clearly did, but even he was like, this is crazy that you're able to do this. I liked all of them. I thought that they like broadened the demon scope for us in this manga, specifically Lewis. But what is, so like, and Shania, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but that fight, the fight with Lewis, which is by far the majority of this arc, what'd you think? What were like, yeah, what'd you think about it?
Yeah, that was definitely one of the best fights for sure, because I mean, from like the very beginning, their very first tactic on Lewis doesn't really work that well. Like, they use the flash like grenade or whatever, and he can still just hear like insanely well, so well that he knows exactly where a person near him is, which is insane. I do want to go back to the Adam thing a little bit, because that was just like, I was not expecting that at all. Yeah, I was like, he's throwing basically the roof of a building at him, and obviously Lewis didn't expect that at all, because I think, like, honestly, Adam really contributed to majorly, like, kind of what gave them the final edge there, because, like, there was no way that Lewis could have ever, like, foreseen them having, like, Adam and him being able to do something like that. And also, it makes me curious because it seems like Adam has come from the same place that Norman is currently in. So I'm like, you know, is Norman also gonna get super strength? And if so, he will be absolutely unstoppable. He will be like the smartest and literally be able to beat up demons. So I don't know.
This is gonna turn into a shonen battle manga. Just Norman just beating up demons. It's gonna take a hard left turn from like this weird like mystery thing that we got going on to just Norman one punch manning a bunch of demons. That's funny. Maybe we don't know what is happening with Norman. But yeah, so what'd you guys think about the man and Lucas and their whole like almost conclusion to their little like mini arc thing?
I found it like emotional. First of all, I like the one moment where Lucas is talking about the man and saying how he misses him, and he starts to say his name, and Emma's like, no, he's got to tell me. He's got to be the one to tell me no. That, which is such like a funny like little moment, but when they see each other and how emotional that is, because what then becomes clear after, you know, you see Lewis who kind of reveals what happened at Goldy Pond, and you realize, you know, this was it. They all ended up there, and this is where they had their last stand, and the two survivors were just Lucas and the man. Like, that's all that seems to have been left, and they both have been living the last 13 years pretty sure the other one didn't make it. And so seeing them like reunited and seeing them win was like really cool, because like they did it. It took 13 years. It took the loss of a lot of people, but they did it. Yeah, a loss of a limb also. But yeah, so I thought it was like really like an emotional moment, especially like since the man had been holding such guilt. And Lucas just has such relief because he hoped beyond anything that the man had made it, and it was just, I don't know, it got me my feels.
Yeah, definitely also got me in my feels. Like, I just thought about, you know, like how they both basically just watched all of their friends die in front of them together, and then they both thought that each other had died for sure, like 100%. So like it's so good to just like even just see those moments of them like reconnecting. And sadly it's like we kind of have to keep moving because, you know, things are happening, you know, Emma's in trouble, and you know, Ray's gonna do whatever to get her some help. So yeah, but I thought that was super great. The man, like when he first heard Lucas's name from Violet, because she said it like almost immediately. I love the little like the panel where it just shows him like in his head being like, Lucas. Like, wait a second. Also, they yet again did the whole scribbling out of his name in one of the comic panels, and I was I was like, oh no, not again. Yeah, that was good.
So almost going off of that, so this arc, and we like have not talked about her at all somehow. I think this arc is huge for Emma. Because this is what I think I think Goldy Pond, in my opinion, is Emma's first wholesale victory. So she set out and said, no one's going to die. We're going to kill all the main demons and we're going to destroy Goldy Pond and leave. That was the plan, and that is what happened. We did that because like they did escape from Gracefield House, but they had to leave all of the younger kids. So it was like a victory, but it wasn't a full victory. This is the first time that Emma's idealism worked. No one's dead, and it's, you know, I mean, obviously Emma's not doing great right now, but no one's dead, and the plan worked. That, and when she like faces down Lewis one-on-one for like those 10 minutes where Lewis is like, okay, I'll wait for him. That's terrifying. Like, if you're Emma, you're like, if I'm Emma, I've already pooped my pants. But like, that's terrifying. It's because, yeah, Lewis is like huge. Like, Lewis is crazy huge. But like, I just like her bravery in this arc, and like, she like sticks to the plan. She does the plan. Things go wrong and they adjust, and I'm like, she's in it. And like, she wins, and I think that's like super important for the story. I don't know if you guys thought about Emma at all. But.
Yeah, I thought it was super interesting too, the conversation that she had with the man when he was trying to get them all to just kind of like go, because they had an opportunity really to like break free from like just the entirety of Goldy Pond in that moment, because they were all away from Lewis, like, and everything, and like Emma kind of saw that this, I feel like, was her one opportunity to actually like fully succeed in the plan of everyone surviving, and also accomplishing the main goal of like getting rid of all of the demons that are here, so that this doesn't happen to other kids in the future. Because that's honestly a lot of what Emma is thinking about too, is like, it's not just about her family anymore, it's about everyone now. And that's like what her whole mentality is usually all through it, is just she wants everyone to make it, not just those that are like closest to her. So yeah.
Emma's heart really like comes through in this too, because I like that, you know, she's angry, and as she's having this conversation with Lewis, she still asks if there's another way. She asks if it has to be that way, and even kind of finds that level ground where she says, you know, like, you're a hunter, but I've also like, I've hunted things, I've killed things. So she's seeing that common ground and asking if there's another way. But I like one of the lines that she says, which Lewis also picks up on, is she says something like, I don't want to kill you if I don't have to. And Lewis is like, good, I thought you were losing the bloodlust there. And then she makes it clear, she's like, no, I hate you, I'll never forgive you, but is there another way to do this? And then her just commitment to see it through, like, once she's analyzed that literally only one other person is there, she commits to doing it. As they're going through this, I love the moment with her and Ray as she pulls out that one gun that she chooses, And she's like, how do I communicate this? But of course it works because Ray is there, and Ray is an absolute G and is immediately reads her moves and does it, which again points out how crazy like Lewis's perception is, because in this hailfire of bullets, he perceives that one bullet is not like the others, not quick enough to react to it as he would have if it had been a straight flash bomb. But so that was cool. Emma's resolved the whole time that she's gonna get everyone out. And also with that, you can see after she is, injured, that whole like scene where she's in her head, and I almost feel like she's making a conscious decision to not die there. And I'm like, I fully believe that's how strong her will is, that she's in this moment where she's like, I could leave, but like people need me. I'm not done yet. And she stands up, which is super cool. And then as she's, how you see Ray's development and in the influence of Emma, because whenever Oliver's like, leave us behind, like whatever, and Ray's like, no, Emma will come back here and this is not what Emma wants. Emma will not be satisfied with this. We're doing this Emma's way. So yeah, it is Emma's victory. She gets like her first win, but I also think it shows how Ray really has embodied Emma's viewpoint. We're gonna save everyone as much as we can, whenever we can, no exceptions, no being pragmatic about it.
Yeah, I'll say this for your benefit, Shania, as a less avid anime and manga consumer than maybe me and Kate. Although I don't know, you've come a long way. But that thing where like Emma's like staring at her reflection is a super common anime and manga trope, where like they like tell themselves to keep living. It's like that. It's in a lot of things. Like, but everything Emma does is way cooler than everyone else. So yeah, I'll take it. I think it's super dope. But yeah, it's like that. I like the trope, but it's definitely used heavily. Kate apparently does not like the trope, but it is used heavily. No, I really liked Emma this arc. I think Emma is a good Emma arc, Not so much at the end though. So let's talk about that for a minute. Emma is dying, and that's where we've left off. So the $1 million question that Shania and me can't answer: do they make it back? / does it work? Or is Emma gonna die in next arc?
I want to say Emma's not gonna die, because I don't know. I'm gonna be real with you. I think really anyone could die in this scenario. Norman's not actually dead, but that does not mean that Emma is safe in any. Like, I feel like, because they teased us with like they made us think that Norman is dead, right? For a while at least. So I'm like, they might do something like that, or like they might actually kill her, which would be really messed up. And Ray would absolutely lose it, because at that point he thinks both of his best friends in the entire world died by the hands of demons. So rough existence for Ray out there for sure.
Ray's riding the struggle bus.
Ray's face when Emma gets pierced is really heartbreaking, because it's true. He's lost. Not only is it like losing one of his best friends, but like the symbol of hope that I think Emma has become to all of them is like one of the reasons Ray can keep going. So that's hard to see. And then I like how we've come full circle with the man, though, because as we like break down this plan, it's just the man and Emma going back, the quickest way to get Emma help, while Ray helps everyone else. Which then leads us to what'll be interesting to see in the next couple of chapters, because if we recall, the man's initial plan had been to kill one of the guys, either Emma or Ray, and then take the other one back. And if we also recall, good old Gilda had a very set conditions that someone needed to return or we were going to blow up a bunker. So seeing how this all goes down in the chapters to come is going to be interesting, because obviously we know what's happened, But Gilda's missing some. She hasn't caught up on her chapters, so she's a little behind.
Yeah. I didn't think about the fact that from Gilda's perspective, this is gonna look like the man showed up with a dying Emma and was like, "Ray's not here, but he's coming though. He'll be here in like 3 months. Don't worry about it." Yeah, this is not gonna go well. This is not gonna go well. I guess that's for next arc though. Do we have any other thoughts about the Goldy Pond arc before we wrap this up? Nothing. Cool. So again, I will ask the same question that I ask every time, and we'll just go in a circle. So who is your favorite character? And I'll answer this. My favorite character is officially Lewis. He is by far my favorite demon in the series. And maybe one of my favorite villains ever. Like, I really, really love him. I think he's really cool. I love this fight. I love this arc. Lewis is definitely my favorite. Yeah, Lewis is so cool.
I am, again, ride or die for Emma. She perpetually gets better. Like, every arc, she's challenged, but she grows. And so even as she grows, she stands firm to who she is and her convictions. So constantly a favorite hero, especially because she embodies some of like the typical tropes of like a female hero, but also adds in her own unique aspects. So continuing to rep Emma.
Yeah, my favorite currently, I would say, is still Ray. I don't think he's been knocked down from that position yet. He came in, saved the day with the man, you know. Proud of my buddy for doing his good work.
So we'll go in the opposite direction this time, but not a whole lot of Ray, by the way, in this arc. Ray was kind of absent. I was interested to see if that would shift up, but so big 3 rankings this arc. I'll start again. We'll go around the other way. So I'm gonna say Emma, Ray, Norman. I think Emma this arc has put in enough work that she deserves my number 1 spot. So she usurps Ray for my top.
Yeah, I'm actually the same order, again, for this week as I was last, so Emma, Ray, and Norman, because, like you said, Luke, Emma definitely did a lot of boss stuff in this arc, for sure. She, like, stood in front of Lewis, like you said, for a whole 10 minutes, and I don't think I could do it, so, major props.
My rankings are the same as Kate's. Emma, Ray, Norman. Frankly, this was Emma's arc. Emma did the most here. Ray came in and was cool, sure, and Norman just got honorable mention. Like, he's not back actively doing anything yet, but yep.
Yeah. So then that leaves us with the last question, which is, how does this arc compare with other arcs? And we'll start with Kate, because you're the newbie.
Yeah, so this arc, I would say, is not my favorite arc of everything. I would say I still like last arc for a couple reasons, just a little bit more, but I would say this arc probably places second for me, though, currently. Like, definitely, it was very good. I liked the Lewis fights and everything, so.
So, I think for me now, this arc probably has become my favorite, followed by, our opening arc. But I think why this one is my favorite now is for a lot of the same reasons that our opening arc was my favorite. Is it presented this new family dynamic. It dove deeper into who these characters are and what motivates them, and it really showed like who they would become in the face of different adversity. And also something that, like, for me in the anime and manga that I watch or that I read, I'm not usually big into fight scenes or things like that, but this arc is so much about like tactical analysis that while there's a lot of action going on, there's so much on the outside of it that's just like cool thought-wise to think about how they're like tactically maneuvering and stuff like that. So it also hits me in that regard, which usually like the fight scenes the fighting arcs aren't the ones that'll get me, but this one does with the amount of strategy it uses.
Yeah, this is also my favorite arc. Goldy Pond's always, like I said, Lewis is my favorite character. This is like his main arc. Mainly, like all the things that you said, Shania, I agree with. But I would also say I think that the visuals in this arc, specifically the drawing and like with all of the action, I think about that panel where Lewis is surrounded by the bullets and stuff. It's like, it feels like Demizu like kicked it up a notch for this arc, like for these fights, especially the Lewis fight, where it seems like all of the art is just like super on point and really cool. But I really like this arc. But yeah, so that's all we got for the Goldy Pond arc. So next week we will be doing the Kuvitadala arc, which, if I'm saying that wrong, which I promise I am, let me know down in the comments section how the heck you pronounce that word, because I don't know. But the arc is from chapter 96 to chapter 112, so just 17 chapters, pretty short arc. We'll be going over that next week. But thanks for hanging out with us here in the Pillowfort, guys. If you like anything that we had to say, like the video, subscribe to my channel. We do these podcasts pretty much every week. At this point, should be pretty regular, as well as I put out my weekly newsletter and, various other videos. So definitely